Hey guys, so in this video we are answering a subscriber question, and the question in question is, Frederick, how does BDD affect the lives of software developers and make your life easier? So let's get into it. Well, I can only speak for myself. I can say that behavioral driven development, or BDD, is amazing at larger scale. Well, it doesn't even have to be at larger scale, but let me walk you through it. So let's first and foremost define BDD a little bit for us. So you may have heard about TDD, or test-driven development, where the basic idea is that you have a function, a piece of logic within your code, and what you want to do is that you want to assert that that code is doing what it's supposed to be doing. So you write a little test that will test, say, a function. Now that function is tested. You cover the cases where you think that things could go wrong, and that's pretty much it. BDD, however, talks more about behavior. In other words, you can describe a set of features or a sequence of events that you want to take place, and then you will assert through BDD that all of these things actually are fulfilled. And what's nice about this is that this fits very, very well into feature requirements. And it's one of my absolute favorite things. I mean, there are semantic differences to what the exact definition and how you do BDD, like the academically correct thing to call it, and what it actually means. But from my experience, my favorite way of doing BDD is through using something like gherkin, which is a pseudocode language, if you will, that basically allows you to declare feature files with different scenarios where you describe that, hey, I am a user and I should be able to open the main page, I should be able to click a product, I should be able to add the product to my basket, I should be able to buy said product. This sort of sequential step approach to things is absolutely amazing. It is, I cannot stress it enough. It's amazing for us developers because what it allows you to do is that it allows you to track the features that you have in your system. And this is not just good for you and me, it's good for absolutely everybody, because I can promise you that when the project gets to a certain size, people will start forgetting about features. They will start forgetting about stuff that they have. They won't remember that, you have a certain set of requirements, and when you do work for long enough, all of these things kind of fall together, and it doesn't really matter, and all of it kind of, well, you start forgetting things. That's the best way I can describe it. It's not possible for you to keep the whole system in your head. And if you have the approach of BDD and you actually write feature tests, or you write these tests, you can be very certain that everything works the way that you have declared them to work. And I mean, the benefits are enormous. I cannot stress it enough. Every time you release something into production, you don't have to do as much regression testing, because, I mean, let's face it, if you have a big application, if you're going to manually test every feature, because in theory, if you release something, you always have a chance of breaking something. And if you're going to test every single feature by yourself, that's a lot of work. If you can automate that, that is absolutely amazing. Another perspective is that, all right, so you and your stakeholders are going to sit down, your product owner or your product manager. It is immensely useful for you to be able to sit down and declare step by step all the things that are going to be a requirement for your feature. It improves the communication between you and your stakeholders, and now you can together decide that this is the way it's going to work. And a lot of the tools that you leverages Gherkin allows you to then actually generate tests based on those requirements, and then you implement the steps. And what's even nicer is that if you have a step, like you should be able to click a product or go to a specific page, you can actually reuse that code. So the more tests you write, the faster you can actually produce these tests, and the easier it is to maintain these suites. I honestly, guys, many times I feel that BDD has a higher value, for a bit higher business value than TDD. A lot of the time. It's easier to maintain a lot of the time, and it's easier to write them because you don't have to write the same thing over and over again. As you write more tests, you can simply start to reuse old existing steps, and that is absolutely amazing. So what I want you to take away from this is that I personally swear by BDD. I think it is, especially for larger complicated applications with a lot of configuration and permutations and all that good stuff. having something like BDD is absolutely amazing, because you sit down with your stakeholders, you define the behavior of what you you get the definition of done up front, because now you have decided all the steps that are going to take place, and you kind of have the most important conversations about how things should work. Once that's done, you implement the tests, and you can actually know when you're done. And once that's all shipped and done, you now have a reference point, living documentation with tests that proves whether or not a feature is still working in the intended way. And that is immensely valuable when the application is so big that you can't just manually check every single thing so that you didn't break something. Have a great day.